What is going on, everybody? My name is General Mittens and welcome back to my second episode in my three-part Assassin's Creed Unity E3 coverage. Now in this episode I will be detailing and analysing the single player demo that was demoed at the Ubisoft press conference, I believe. In the next episode, which will hopefully be up tomorrow, I'll be analysing the co-op demo that was given at the Xbox press conference. Now there has been quite a bit of information, sort of little information, you know, like customization, combat, stealth, that has been sort of announced, which I'll do in a different video, which will hopefully be up next week. It should be up next week, but by that time, more information should have come out and I can actually make a full video on that. But for now, I'll just be detailing and analysing what we are actually shown in this trailer alone. So I won't actually be touching on anything else outside of this trailer. Now, I didn't say this in the video before, but just to be certain, I'll say it in this video. Special thanks to Ubisoft for releasing this footage from the press conferences. This is footage straight from Ubisoft, so it is their property. I'll link their trailers down below in the description if you want to watch the full trailer. I'll also link you any further information that I discuss about in any other video in the description below. But without further ado, let's get started. So here we see what looks to be the new main menu screen, and the main menus in Assassin's Creed have always been sort of trippy looking Animus things. This is more sort of, it sort of looks like the Lost Archives from Revelations, where it's all these pillars everywhere, but it looks pretty clean, pretty bright. Hopefully it won't blind too many people when playing at night time, but anyway, this looks like the new main menu. It could just be a menu just for the demo, but either way, it's something. And here we see a lovely landscape shot in-game of the city of Paris. Now we see a lot of fog, a lot of lighting. The lighting has definitely improved since the leaked screenshots, which I discussed in my other video. We can also see the shadows, so it's a very good contrast between the daylight and the shadows. I think it's close to perfect. And that's the thing with a lot of game developers these days, is I think they get the daylight completely wrong. Nighttime is fine, but daylight is always seems too washed out and, you know, not bright enough. As well as the shadows, sometimes they're just not dark enough. Sometimes they're just sort of the absence of light, and it really doesn't look too real. Whereas this, I think, just from looking here, the lighting is as close as I've really seen that I can remember off my head to real life lighting as well as real life shadows. So I'm really, really impressed with that.
Poor France is ill, and our city is a wound, inflamed by all efforts to heal her.
So as you can see here, just again with the shadows and lighting, it is perfect. Like, you can actually see the sunlight coming in, how bright it is, as well as the inside lighting as well. So I guess the lighting levels will change as you go from indoors to outdoors, but there we can just see a good example of the lighting.
A king once ruled, headstrong and corrupt, now headless and a corpse, murdered by men just as vile.
Now if we have a look at this character model here, we can see how detailed he is, as well as not just his face and his hair, but also his fabric. You can definitely see the difference between his gloves, which are probably leather, to his actual coat, and the studs on his, sort of the flaps on his coat as well as the scarf. It's very, very detailed, and this is in-game as well, so I'm incredibly impressed.
Today, fanatics from all sides spill blood on every corner. 1,000 terrors I mean to cure.
We can also see a bit of the fog here, which sort of, it looks like volumetric fog. So it's 3D, it moves about. I'm not sure if it actually collides with objects, so if you run through it, say, I don't know if it's going to move out the way, but it definitely looks pretty detailed. We can also see the population down there, and it looks like there's at least 1,000 people down there, maybe more. But apparently it's going to be, this Assassin's Creed is going to have the most amount of characters on screen at once constantly. So in Assassin's Creed 3, we saw about 5,000 people on screen at one mission, and that was it. That was the sort of the peak of the amount of people on screen, whereas this, it looks like it's going to be a lot more dense, so the city's going to be filled with people, which is beautiful because Assassin's Creed has always sort of lacked in, not really population, but sort of characters to the population. They've always sort of been copies of each other and just walking around doing meaningless stuff. Whereas here, they actually look like they have some life to them. There's lots of them. So it'd definitely be something to look forward to see how it runs definitely on PC.
Day by day, street by street, Templar by Templar.
So right there, we heard someone narrating, which seemed to be ARNO himself. And although he has French and Austrian heritage, he has a British accent, so that could either mean that they're chucking an Assassin's Creed 1 and just putting in just whatever accent they feel like, doesn't matter where he comes from, what they did with Altair, as he had an American accent in the Third Crusade, or he was born in the UK, but his parents are French and Austrian, that kind of thing, and he's moved over to France. And he's just sort of moved over to France.
Hello, my name is Alex Amancio, and I'm the creative director of Assassin's Creed Unity. Welcome to the streets of Paris, the most beautiful city in the world, in the throes of a bloody revolution. Atop de Notre Dame, our hero, ARNO, surveys the scene. Let's make our way down using controlled descent, one of the new additions to navigation in ACU.
So this is basically in motion of what we saw at the leaked screenshots. For those of you who've seen those screenshots, it showed in the puppeteer buttons that A was parkour up and B was parkour down. Or if you're on PlayStation, that would be X for parkour up and circle for parkour down. Now this looks like what it's actually meaning by parkour down. Instead of just dropping, you actually control where you're going to drop, and he actually, instead of dropping free-falling and having to hold B or circle to grab onto something, he's actually jumping towards something with the intent of landing on it. So it looks very, very cool. Probably as unrealistic as the climbing is in other Assassin's Creed games, but it looks really cool. It should hopefully work and be able to, sort of add a whole level of movement to the Assassin's Creed genre, because generally you just have to jump off into a haystack or, jump to your death or lose a bit of health. Whereas now you can actually jump to certain objects that you've climbed up on.
We have completely overhauled navigation, allowing you to plan and execute exactly where you want to go. Essentially, you don't have to look for a haystack to get to street level anymore. This massive crowd is gathered in front of Notre Dame because clergy is being dragged out. Players can choose whether they want to get involved or not, save the clergy, which will attract attention, or let them be murdered and stay hidden. The choice is yours.
I think the guards can handle these rogues. My target may be on the move.
As you can see, the city is completely alive, with inhabitants going about their business, getting robbed, or investigating curious events. You will need to learn how to read the crowd in order to get a read on possible gameplay activities.
So here we just saw a crime being committed, and it was very seamless. It wasn't just sort of pop up on the map and spawn a few characters running around. It was actually happening on screen, and I don't think we've really seen that before. We've always seen pickpockets just sort of walking around, and apparently they've pickpocketed us or pickpocketed somewhere else, but we never actually saw it take place, whereas here we saw them steal something. I don't know whether it was a purse or a ring or something, but they've obviously stolen something, and it's a side mission. Straight up, like automatically, you can just go and tackle him and retrieve it. So it's very seamless, it looks very cool, and it sort of adds another level of life to the city.
For example, the crowd looking inside the building is curious about a recent murder. This is a cue for one of our murder mystery missions. Let's take a look inside the building, seamlessly, for the first time ever.
So, as said there, it is seamless for the first time ever. You can walk into a building without having to do a loading screen. Now, this sort of happened in Assassin's Creed 3, and I think Assassin's Creed 4 as well. However, it was just pre-planned, on rails thing, where it'd sort of be like an in-game cutscene, where they jump over a few objects, jump out the other window on the other side, and then you'd be able to control them again. Whereas here, you can actually walk inside the building and just, just explore. Again, it sort of adds that extra bit of realism to the game, and it sort of adds a little bit of life as well, because instead of just walking around, climbing a bunch of buildings that really have no meaning, you can actually enter a certain amount of buildings. I don't think you can enter all of them, but at least you can enter some and actually explore what they look like on the inside, so it sort of adds that realism to it.
Turn to see justice done.
We'll add this mission to our quest log and keep moving towards our target. Remember, Paris is in the midst of a revolution, and systemic fights can break out at any moment. As you can see, the people are taking the fight to the aggressors, the enemy faction in ACU.
Here's the spot. If I'm not too late, I'll catch Captain Xavier at his dinner.
Our target is in a social club, one of the new types of locations in ACU. We'll need to make our way inside. Let's use a direct approach. Combat is much more challenging in ACU, and players will have to make good use of their wit, tools, and new combat moves. Among these, you will see the parry, dodge, tackle, and heavy attack.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Thank you, Jesus. I've wanted sort of an improved combat system ever since Assassin's Creed 3. While Assassin's Creed 3 and 4, their combat system looked brilliant. It just looked so beautiful and seamless. Like, there was no jumping about between animations. It was way too easy. It was even easier than Assassin's Creed 2 and Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, where it was literally just mash X. I like the idea of having to press B to counter and then being able to choose what weapon to counter him with, but it was just way too easy. It was just a button masher. Whereas in here, what the creative director said here was that you have to mix normal attacks with heavy attacks. Thank fuck. Heavy attacks have made a reappearance in this game ever since, they haven't been in an Assassin's Creed game since Assassin's Creed 1, which is ridiculous. So you have light and heavy attacks, you have parry, which is sort of like your block, you have the dodge, which it pretty much became useless in Assassin's Creed 2, and then you have the tackle, which is also been sort of faded out in the new, the newest Assassin's Creed games. So it actually looks like counter-attack has been completely wiped. From what we can tell, parry is literally just block and then you follow it up with a manual attack. So instead of hitting BX or, right trigger X, you actually have to time it perfectly, you actually have to block and then follow it up with just a normal bog standard attack. So there's no disarming and slicing up the guy within one attack. It's actually, you have to just hit him, get him down, time it right, and it just seems a lot more like you need a lot more skill to actually be really good at this combat. Now, I'm going to go and completely make myself look like a hypocrite here, but on the Assassin's Creed website, I know I'm not supposed to be talking about it because I'm supposed to be talking about the trailer, it says that it's easy to learn but hard to master, so that gets thrown around a lot, but it seems like it's easy to just mash X, but if you really want to be, effective and actually take down your enemies quicker, then you actually have to master it. So it looks like button mashing might be a really, really bad way of doing it, because you will probably lose a lot of health yourself and you won't get them down as quickly as you'd like.
Before entering the building, let's use Eagle Pulse to plan our approach and see what's waiting for us inside.
So this new Eagle Vision-like thing called Eagle Pulse actually highlights all your objects, so your chests, your loot, as well as your enemies through walls. So it seems like you can do what, I can't remember for the life of me his name, but the dude in Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood, who was not really an assassin but had Eagle Vision anyway, he taught you how to steal stuff in Assassin's Creed 2, but it looks like you can actually use that. Now, in saying that, it seems that we might have different versions of Eagle Vision, because what's said here is Eagle Pulse. Now, we've never actually heard of that before, but I doubt they're going to leave it at just that. I believe they're going to actually have a few separate versions of Eagle Vision. So you could have like a tracking Eagle Vision sort of thing, you could have Eagle Pulse, and then your bog standard Eagle Vision, or you unlock skills as you go along, which is, I think, discussed or sort of touched on later in this video, or it's in the co-op demo, but we'll have to see.
You can enter many buildings in Paris, which makes for countless new gameplay situations. Let's switch to stealth mode and try a non-lethal approach. For the first time in Assassin's Creed, we have a dedicated stealth mode, triggered at the press of a button.
Fuck yes! Fuck yes! Shit hot! Oh man, I'm so happy about this. I didn't think they'd do this. I didn't think they'd actually put in a crouch button, but okay, professional mittens, professional. Okay, So there's a dedicated crouch button, which is amazing. We've needed this ever since Assassin's Creed 1, to be particularly honest with you. They added the contextual, sort of crouching in Assassin's Creed 3 when you're in bushes, and then there was supposed to be like, when you're in a restricted zone, you're going to go crouch in Assassin's Creed 4, but that never actually made it into the full game. Now we have a dedicated button for crouching. It also looks like there's a little bit of a cover system as well, which I'll touch on more in the co-op demo, but we've got a crouch button, guys. That's all we really wanted, was just a fucking crouch button, and we've got it. So that's absolutely brilliant.
Stealth mode makes you harder to detect and allows you to circumnavigate enemies by using a cover-to-cover approach.
So as you just saw there, and as you just heard as well, there does seem to be a cover system. He was just moving along, shuffling along the boxes there, the crates. So that's more, instead of it being used for firefights and shit like that, it's actually going to be used for, it looks like it's going to be used for sort of shimmying your way across. So instead of just free crouching and walking around and that kind of thing, you can actually go cover to cover. So you can, instead of having to manually run to the next cover, you can just press a button, it will do it for you, so it's the most efficient way. So it basically lowers the risk of you being spotted.
Our target is hiding away on the 3rd floor. Let's get to him.
It wasn't me. I'm not the man you are.
Where is he?
But it's justice, the executions.
Oh my god. Oh my god. This is all in-game, by the way. This is like, this isn't pre-rendered. That face is actually being generated in-game. That is amazing. That is, I'm actually really, really surprised. This is the first game that I've actually properly had a look at that I've seen an in-game face look pretty much as good as a pre-rendered face for the same game. This looks like the CGI trailer. It is ridiculous. And this is in-game. I can't stress this enough. This is actually while you're playing. That's how good it's going to look. I really can't wait to play this. This is going to stress test my PC to the absolute shithouse. But hopefully it should look absolutely amazing and it won't chuck a Watch Dogs on us.
You should leave this place.
Merci, monsieur. Merci. Merci.
It seems our target isn't here. Let's make our way to the Palais de Justice and track him down. You can see the unique skyline of Paris, as well as the one-to-one scale of the city, which gives navigation a completely new feeling. To support the assassin advantage on rooftops, we've added the high ground feature, letting us quickly and seamlessly see the gameplay opportunities around us.
So as seen here, it's sort of like a little mini-map that's been projected across the actual view of the character, so you can actually see exactly where it is, because there's a little beam of light as well coming from each activity. Now, I'm not too sure what this actually is, if it means that it's more for using sort of like courtesans or assassins or thugs or something to help you in your mission, or if it's going to be a replacement for the mini-map. I'm not actually quite sure. I have a feeling it's not going to replace the minimap and it's just going to be for highlighting, where you can go to get help, sort of a thing. So as you can see here, there's a lot of thieves and courtesans and assassins, and there's as well as civilians down there as well. So it looks like it's just to highlight things that can help you out throughout your mission, instead of it actually being a replacement for the.
Taverns are social hubs of a kind, offering a variety of options to players, such as shopkeepers and join-in-progress opportunities for co-op missions. Food was becoming scarce at this stage of the revolution, and these people are arguing over grain.
So as you can see there, as he was walking through the crowd, and you could see it right at the start of the gameplay as well, I just wanted to touch on it here, is the blending animation thing. What it looks like is when you're blending with civilians, you actually get this little blue-white outline, as well as some sort of blue smoke coming off of your character. So that's just the new way of showing you that you're blending. Instead of having like a little dot above your head or going completely colorless, it just gives you a little outline, and there's a bit of smoke coming off. It's quite visually impressive, nothing too major. You know, it's just bog standard. Just wanted to point it out.
For today. This street is blocked by aggressors, the enemy faction. We can't fight them because that will attract protectors, and we aren't quite strong enough to fight them off yet.
So as we can see here is a good example of the parkour up feature. There's also something else that I completely forgot was going to be in the game, was not just straight up vertical climbing. You can actually go diagonally up a building. As you can see there, he basically ran up the wall diagonally to his little perch that he was going to continue his climb up the building. This is good for basically evading enemies. So in Assassin's Creed, basically every single Assassin's Creed before this one, you'd have to run straight up a building. So you'd basically wall run vertically up it, and it was sort of hard because if you wanted to get up to a certain point, you'd have to run forward a little bit more, and then that could run the risk of guards attacking you if they were chasing you from the other way. It seems like you can literally just wall run over them onto another platform. So it's a good evasion technique. I can't wait to try it out, and hopefully it should work as smoothly as they're making it out to be.
We'll avoid these for now.
Now, we can also see a little ring that's just appeared over Arno there that has all the notification sort of suspicion guard things around him. So in previous games, when a guard behind you or, you know, out of the way of your view was suspicious, the actual indicator would be at the edges of the screen, and it was sometimes really, really hard to see. Now, it's at the center of where you're looking at, so you know whereabouts in relation to the camera and Arno the actual guards are that are trying to find you. So it's quite a nice feature. I'm happy they've added that in. It's more just for the ease of use of player. It's more just for the ease of the use of the player.
By parkouring up this wall. This massive crowd has gathered to watch the public executions by the guillotine down the street. To find our target, we'll use Eagle Pulse, a limited skill right now, as we haven't unlocked the full power yet.
Now this is what I was talking about before with the Eagle Pulse, is that you can actually unlock skills for your character for the Eagle Vision. Now I'm pretty sure you could do this for everything else as well as combat, you know, customization, character movement, that kind of thing. So it seems like it's going to be more of an RPG style of game where you actually upgrade your character, and that's sort of proven by what's on the Assassin's Creed website, but I really can't touch on it now because that's way too much information. I'll have to make a new video on it. But there is going to be a lot of character customization there, as well as clothes, and it's going to be a really big part. You know, it's going to be really detailed customization. But anyway, I'll get onto that in another video, so let's continue on.
Our target, Captain Xavier, is making his way to the guillotine stand to start the executions. As an assassin, we are the blade in the crowd. We have a lot of ways we could kill our target. We can use the Phantom Blade, the new assassin's signature weapon. We could use a stun bomb on the guards.
So right there he said there's a lot of ways that you can basically take out your target. You can use a stun bomb on the guards. So we've already had sort of confirmation about the smoke bombs in the CG trailer, whereas now we got told of stun bombs. So it looks like maybe bomb crafting is back, or at least, you know, you can get separate types of bombs, which to me, I loved the bomb crafting in Revelations. I thought it was amazing. It just needed a lot more versatility and a lot more combinations, because there was a very limited amount of combinations you could do with the ingredients that you had, so you couldn't mix certain things together, and it was sort of a bit tedious. But if they added, you know, if they have bomb crafting in this game and they added a lot more versatility and a lot more combinations, then it could really be something that you could really get lost in, and, you know, creating these new bombs and testing it out on the poor bastard of guards that, you know, around the corner. I think it'd be a pretty good part of the game.
Or we could use the new disguise skill and walk right up to him. In this case, let's send a message to the Templars and make this execution.
So just pausing here just for a second, we can see the detail on Arno's overcoat here. Now there's a lot of stitching there. It just shows how good the graphics are going to be, hopefully, when the full game releases. Now, as I touched on before, you can change his, you know, costume if you want, if you don't like it, because I don't particularly like his overcoat in this trailer. It's too plain for me. especially during the time period. But anyway, let's move on. I'll touch on customization in another video.
As public as we can.
And here we get a little glimpse of co-op, as you can see the icons above their head. But it looks like the assassins are going in to help ARNO with this little predicament he got himself into. But anyway, that is basically the end of the trailer. We see the catch line make history and the pre-order bonus at the end of the video as well. So there we go. Overall, I think it was a very good demo. It basically showed a lot of the new features that fans have been wanting for ages. I'm sure there's a lot more features that haven't been detailed in this single player demo, but just from the looks of it, the amount of upgrades they've done and the sort of the detailing they've added into the game, as well as sort of upgrading the combat system, as well as sort of fine-tuning a lot of things, it really looks like they've listened to the fans and they've been able to sort of portray it in this game. The reason why I think they couldn't do it in Black Flag is because they were already too far in development by the time we actually gave the feedback. But either way, they're making the changes, they're listening to the fans. It's really, really impressive. It makes me want the game more. I'm trying to stay not as hyped as what I really want to be because... I sort of do that with every game because a lot of the time I get disappointed by games. Battlefield. But anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. Once again, thanks to Ubisoft for releasing the footage at the press release. I just wanted to, doing these videos, I just want to sort of touch on a lot of features that some of you may have missed in the trailer, sort of explaining a lot of things because I'm a huge fan of the Assassin's Creed series. And that's why I sort of detail and critique Assassin's Creed, because I love the series. I want to see it become the best that it can be. So once again, thank you very much for watching this video. The full trailer will be linked in the description down below if you want to go check that out. Yeah, so thank you very much once again for watching this video. My name is General Mittens, and I'll see you in the next episode.